Having taken a brief intermission from the story of Joseph, we now return to it in Genesis chapter 39 and really pick up exactly where we left off with Joseph as a slave in Potiphar's house in Egypt. One of the things that stands out about this chapter is its symmetry. Verses 2 and 23 are nearly identical and thus sort of, I think, draw our minds to the reality that in God's eyes, Joseph was successful. Now, we likely have a different idea of what success looks like than what we see here, but maybe that's the point. Maybe instead of looking to our culture to find success, we ought to look to God. So, a few brief comments on the biblical definition of success. First, success must begin with knowing God. There's just no way around this reality, and this chapter underscores that. The Lord was with Joseph and loved him. The idea of with in the Bible points to a sort of oneness, a personal knowledge and closeness or connection, and this has to go both ways. God was with Joseph, and Joseph knew God and walked with him. Herein lies the beginning of all that is good and right. Secondly, success demands that we are faithful with what God has given to us. Now, certainly Joseph didn't want to be in Egypt or in prison, but that's where he finds himself. And instead of bemoaning his circumstances, he makes the most of it. He is a faithful steward of the situation and resources that he has been given. Joseph worked hard and was trustworthy, while at the same time knowing his boundaries. It's like he stayed in his lane. He refused to go beyond that which had been given to him. Third, success involves obedience. Joseph could have made all sorts of excuses to justify an illicit relationship with Potiphar's wife. Yet he intentionally chooses not to sin against God. Lastly, success requires perseverance. No doubt there was many moments of discouragement for Joseph. After enduring all of these peaks and valleys, the punishment for doing the right thing, it would have been easy for Joseph to just give up. But he doesn't. Blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trial, James says, for he will receive the crown of life. Therein lies the reward of a successful life. So, knowing God, being a faithful steward, being obedient, persevering. Certainly we could add more to this list, but likely not less. Make no mistake, though. All of these things flow from enjoying a relationship with God through Jesus. So, as we read this chapter, let's learn from Joseph, but ultimately let's look for Jesus and let's strive to be successful.